tracking is so difficult. You know, we were talking earlier, Joel, about how, you know, simply just installing tracking wrong can make your data just completely messed up. You know, so how, from your perspective, helping these companies actually install the tracking and analytics to get this data, do you want to comment about tracking all this data?
Sure. Without proper tracking, you're not going to have any of the data to do anything. And there's kind of two sides to this, and it gets a little tricky because you can literally track anything, right? You can go in and you can have, you know, a tag management solution. You can talk to your developers. You can put tracking pixels on every aspect of a page, every click. But what is that really doing? I mean, aside from inflating your server costs and driving everyone crazy and
creating the swamp.
Yeah, you're literally creating a swamp. There's just not enough manpower. There's not enough people that can do that, and then you really have to kind of ask yourself what matters, and that comes, you know, again with experience. I'm sure everyone in this room has probably, you know, worked with so much content, whether it's an app or a site, to the point where we all kind of, you know, we have an eye for these things and we see what works and what doesn't. But a lot of the time, you know, like you said, you know, things change, trends shift, and different things become important. And so the reason tracking is so important is because once you understand what you need to track, and those are based individually on KPIs. Like, for example, at the moment, I work at a broadcast network, so our biggest kind of KPI right now is video consumption. You know, we want people to go in there and consume all kinds of videos and consume these ads. You know, I was working at a car company. I have some old coworkers here today, and we were tracking, you know, dealer leads. I was working at an e-commerce place and wanted to sell dresses and sweaters and shoes, and so each one of those is different. So once you kind of determine what it is that you're really kind of after, then you can begin the process of, hey, I want to put this tracking pixel here, and this is what it's going to mean. And one of the most robust tools, in my opinion, although they've kind of pretty much monopolized the analytics space, is Adobe, formerly known as Omniture, now called Adobe Analytics, kind of hosts another suite of products. Google Analytics is like a free alternative to this, which is amazing. I think for a free tool, it's like kick-ass for what it does. And so I primarily work with the Adobe suite of product, like all those products, and it is kind of beastly because it's just a lot you can do, and it requires its own set of QA and verification. Like an in-house QA team usually is testing for functionality, and they're testing every other kind of tag you're putting on the site, whether it's an ad tag or whether you're using every other, you know, most companies use a lot of tools. So the struggle for us is, you know, not only are we implementing this, we have to QA it ourselves to make sure that it's functional. We don't want tags firing 10 pixels at a time and inflating everything and giving you kind of an incorrect view of what your data looks like. It needs to be accurate and it needs to be right, and it's actually a very precise thing. So once we go in there and we're able to do that, then, you know, I'm confident that this data's clean. Now when the BI team is looking at it, when every person that, you know, on marketing or finance or people that don't really have that much time can just skim through these dashboards, that these are, you know, it's correct, and that what they're looking at is true. And once you kind of come to a place where you're harnessing that, then, you know, ideally you move on to that awesome place where you get to optimize for it. And that's where, you know, the multivariate A/B testing and things like that come into play. And there's different tools for that, you know, optimize, they target, things like that. But
yeah, you know, to her point, it's very easy to be tracking the wrong things and then to not have your analytics set up properly. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen analytics suites that just are firing too many times, or like aren't on every page on the website, and you're just missing certain data, and then that messes up the whole other suite of data. So like, at the core, it's so critical to make sure that whatever data you're tracking, it's accurate, it's clean, it's set up properly. Because a rush job at setup just literally not only gives you bad data, but can give you wrong data. So it's super important to make sure that this stuff is set up clean and tracking properly.